All right, guys. The offseason has officially started for the Utah Jazz, and there's a lot going on. We're going to talk about rumors. We're going to talk about what's next for the Jazz, and we're going to talk about a possible guy coming to the Jazz in some way, shape, or form. It's the Hoops Nerd Show. Okay, guys, after mourning the Jazz loss, I'm ready to get back to talking about the Jazz, and I'm ready to talk about some of these rumors that are going around with the Utah Jazz. So, if you follow the Jazz in any way, shape, or form online, a person you need to follow is Tony Jones. And the reason I'm telling you guys to go follow Tony Jones is because Tony Jones was recently on a podcast with Chris Mannix talking about Utah, talking about them losing, and what was next for the Utah Jazz. Now, the big thing that Tony Jones says, besides kind of talking about what happened with Utah and everything, is he mentioned a name. And the name he mentioned was Shane Battier. Now, why is this interesting? Well, the Utah Jazz, I would tell you guys right now, watch the Utah Jazz very closely, because something is going to happen. We've heard rumors about Danny Ainge. We've heard rumors that Ryan Smith wants to make his imprint on this team. Watch the Jazz quickly. To be honest, I wanted to get this video out. Quicker because I think something's going to happen soon. I'm trying to get this up as quick as I can. Watch for changes with the Jazz here soon. And one of the people I think the Jazz fans should watch is Shane Battier. Why would Tony Jones mention that? Well, Tony Jones is very connected to the Utah Jazz. If you're a Jazz fan, follow him on Twitter, because when he talks, it's worth listening to in terms of Jazz news. And if he's going to be willing to mention a name, that means he's heard something. What makes this more interesting is that on June 18th, as I'm recording this, is June 24th, June 18th, Shane Battier just left his position with the Miami Heat. Now, what was Shane Battier? Shane Battier was head of basketball analytics for the Miami Heat, and using those analytics in scouting their players and college prospects and things. Shane Battier is this really smart dude and known for incredible defense, incredibly smart guy. He was even asked by people in Michigan to run for Senate. The guy is a smart guy, and he's headed up those operations in Miami. Suddenly resigns. And if you go to the article in the Miami Herald, go look it up. I might try to put a link in here, although, YouTube might give me a flag or something, so maybe I won't. But go look up Shane Battier leaves full-time job with the Heat. You'll see this article in the Miami Herald talking about him resigning, but there's not a lot there in terms of what he's doing now. Another interesting connection with the Shane Battier thing. Dwyane Wade, now part owner of the Utah Jazz, has a big say with things with Ryan Smith. My guess is that Dwyane Wade, as we speak, is trying to bring Shane Battier to the Jazz in some way, shape, or form. We saw the Jazz lose in a terrible way again. This is 2 years in a row that the Utah Jazz have been swept out of the playoffs. They go up 3-1 against the Denver Nuggets. The Nuggets promptly come back and sweep them out. They go up 2-0 to the Clippers. And then the Clippers promptly sweep them 4 games in a row. It's 2 really bad losses for the Jazz, and the Jazz are not getting any younger. The Jazz cap situation is terrible. They are over the cap already, and that's before being able to offer anything to Mike Conley. So I would not be surprised, guys, if you see some sort of shakeup with this team to change things. It's too stagnant. I've seen people online talk about, Quinn Snyder being, the 3rd or 4th longest tenured coach in the NBA. These days, I don't think that's really a positive. If you're just the longest tenured guy in the NBA, that's just a fact. That's not necessarily a pro. It's not really a con either, although in some ways it could be a con. You look at Quinn Snyder's record now in the 5, 6, 7 seasons he's been with the Jazz. There's 2 playoff series he's won. The Jazz have been knocked out every other time. And in a lot of ways, in really embarrassing fashion. The Jazz have never, under Snyder, found a way to overcome a spread, switching defense in the playoffs against high talent teams. The Clippers, the Rockets, And they did beat the Oklahoma City Thunder back in the day, and they were able to beat the 9 seed Grizzlies. Other than that, the Jazz have seen some real heartbreak. So watch for the Jazz to make some sort of change, and maybe Shane Battier comes in as coach, or maybe he comes in some sort of general manager role. The only way I see Shane Battier coming from Florida or his hometown Michigan to home state Michigan to Utah is for a big time position. He's not going to do a lateral move to be just, hang out with Dwyane Wade in Utah. He's going to want to have a big position. In like 2018, Shane Battier interviewed for general manager position in Detroit. So maybe general manager is something he's looking at. It would mean some sort of shakeup with the Jazz. I don't know what's going to happen with Utah, but I also would say watch the Jazz right now. Watch the Jazz. Things are going to happen. You have a situation in Dallas where a shadow imaginary GM thing is going on. Watch that situation. Watch the Jazz. Things are happening. My guess is right now Dwyane Wade is going after Shane Battier really hard and is wanting to bring him over in some way, shape, or form. I would also watch the Danny Ainge situation, because if you went to the True Hoop Network and go look up True Hoop, Utah Jazz, Danny Ainge, you will see a situation where you have a connection with Danny Ainge and Ryan Smith. Those two guys are connected, and I would not be surprised if Danny Ainge is connected to the Jazz in some way, maybe brought in some form, some way, shape, or form. Danny Ainge is going to have some sort of connection to the Jazz. Those things aren't mentioned by. Can we get connected? Those things aren't mentioned by Woj lightly. So Utah is going to see some big, interesting moves here this offseason, and things are going to change. I, for one, am excited about it. I'm back. I'm over mourning the Utah Jazz loss in the playoffs. I'm ready to come back, not just talk about the Jazz. We will talk about everything. We're going to talk about the draft, all these different things, guys. Make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel. I will talk to you next time.